Popular selection techniques. Today, we will talk about the application in background checks, employment tests, work simulations, personal interviews, and other selection techniques. So what is popular selection techniques? Organizations use different techniques for gathering information that reflect an individual education, experience, skills, and abilities, and personal characteristics, which indeed most organizations rely on a comprehensive system called a multiple selection techniques, which is ensure that they gather all relevant data and assess this data rigorously. As many organizations nowadays vary the order of these techniques in order to fit their own particular needs. We have here a sample of selection process that commonly being used in different industry. It started with the applications and background checks, wherein when you qualify, the next phase would be the employment test. Then if you performed well, an interview would follow. If the interviewers were in commonly the HR staff or the department head where you are applying for, if you have good impressions, then you will then proceed to the reference and recommendation phase. Wherein, if you have this positive feedback from them, a physical examination will follow. And lastly, there will be a selection decision or a job offer. Applications and background checks. So during this phase, ask individuals for various facts and information pertaining to their personal backgrounds. For example, we have here the name, educational backgrounds, personal career goals, and experiences. We have two types of application blanks that we are trying to understand in this phase of these techniques. The first one is the weighted application blanks, wherein statistical techniques is used to determine and the relative importance of various personal factors for predicting a person's ability to perform jobs effectively. The next one will be the biodata application blank, wherein it focuses on the same type of information found in a regular application, but it is also goes into more complex and detailed assessment about the background. The next one would be the employment test, where it serves as a device for measuring the characteristic of an individual. These characteristics may include personality, intelligence, or aptitude. Typically, employment tests are either on paper or computer administered. So nowadays, big companies, multinational companies, using the computer administered in order for them to check or to test the ability of their applicants with regards to proficiency in the computers, especially if you are working in a BPO. So the next one will be the employment test, where it focuses on three types of tests, which is the aptitude test, achievement test, and cognitive ability test. Aptitude test refers or focus on predicting future performance of an individual, while achievement test is focused on mastery of some sets of learned skill. Cognitive test or cognitive ability test focus on the questions of whether the person will be able to perform some specific task in the future. For example, it measures the mental skills of an individual, demonstrates some type of knowledge, and scholastic aptitude test, or the one that measures the intelligence of the applicant. We also have here the work simulations, which require an applicant to perform tasks or job-related activities that simulate or represent the actual work for which the person is being considered. For example, data entry task in keyboard, which test the proficiency with the Microsoft Office, and some 70 WPM, a technical term from some information technology task. The second one is driving test rather for taxi drivers. We also have the machinist jobs wherein individual must work in a machine with close supervision. So this kind of examples provided here provide a clear descriptions of how work simulations are being done in different industries. We also have here the personal interviews. Personal interviews have traditionally been defined as face-to-face conversations between the prospective job applicants and representative of the organizations. But in our digital age, employment interviews are not always technically face-to-face. Instead, many are done using tools such as Skype, Zoom, Google Meet, which make it possible to conduct interviews without needing the two participants at the same location. Personal interviews. We have three types of personal interviews. The first one is the structured employment interviews. The interviewer works from a list of standard questions that are presented to every candidate by every interviewer. The second one is the semi-structured employment interview, wherein major or key questions are decided in advance and provided for each interviewer. But the interviewer is also given a prerogative to ask follow-up questions to prove the interviewer's specific answer. And lastly, the unstructured employment interview, wherein there is no predetermined question to this type of interview. The interviewer may have a general idea about what he or she wants to learn about the job applicant. So we also have here the other selection techniques wherein the first one is the references and recommendations. So this type of techniques is the job applicant is usually asked to provide either letters of recommendation or the names and addresses of individuals who may be contacted rather to write such letters. The last one is the assessment centers, wherein usually for the selections manager, an assessment is not physical location, but it is instead an approach to selecting managers based on measuring and evaluating their ability to perform critical works behavior. So, if you are hiring a manager at director level, usually the assessment center is the best selection techniques that an organization can use. Normally, assessment centers conducted in a conference room. Sometimes it's in the hotel. Sometimes in a cafe. It's quite sometimes informal if you will conduct this kind of assessment in outside the office. However, I think right now more industries using this assessment center as they find it more accessible for in the part of the selection department. When doing some recruitment or selection techniques, right now we have these technological tools that the human resources department is using, which is the job street, the LinkedIn, the Facebook. These modern technological tools include all social media networks, which provides avenue for job seekers and employers to meet set expectations, requirements, and eventually land a job. Job Street employers can post job advertisements setting the job qualifications and also the salary range and benefits of the job seeker. In LinkedIn, social media website for professionals, Facebook for professionals with focus on careers, work history, connections, and linkage. So these technological tools provide accessibility for the applicants and for the recruitment in order for them to bridge the expectations and eventually close the deal or ensure that the right applicants or the right company they are both looking forward will be met. So that's all for now. That's my thank you very much.